All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Office Hours with your host, Stix Intern. Today, we have a very special episode for you all in the DeFi Kingdoms community, especially, but I think with something that's applicable way even beyond the bounds of DFK. And we have a special guest from Halliday HQ. Griffin, I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and just a quick rundown of your role at Halliday.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm Griffin. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Halliday, and I've been working here, for over a year now, building in Web3 during a bear market. It's been a fantastic time.
Awesome, awesome. And so over a year now. So did you get started just early 2022 then it sounds like with building Halliday?
Yes. So actually, I met my co-founder quite serendipitously over a year ago, and we weren't initially working on Halliday. We worked on a protocol called Avalon, and we worked together on multiple protocol iterations. And one thing led to another, and eventually Halliday was born.
Okay, and so did Halliday kind of develop out of this Avalon project, or like are they related? I guess is what I'm getting at, or was it just a new idea? Did you have like an aha moment that you could build something cooler?
Yeah, so I guess the to give a bit of an origin story, the
Yeah.
reason that we started the company in the first place, well, so way back in the day during the last sort of bull market in crypto, we were fascinated by Axie Infinity, and so we were both sort of studying blockchain at this time, and one of our professors, he chose a random transaction on Ethereum mainnet, and the transaction was from Axie. And
Haha, that's
we were
funny.
fascinated because we're like, wow, there's a video game with over $2 billion in market volume, but the game was quite simple. But this sort of just demonstrated the power of capital markets and games. But then we also start seeing all this economic activity with guilds and lending and peer-to-peer activity, and that really inspired us to sort of jump head on into the space.
Very cool, very cool. I like it. I like it. All right. So, you mentioned that you're not the only person at Halliday. How many people do you have working with you? Who else is there with Griffin?
Yeah. So we're a 10-person team. Uh,
Nice.
we got multiple full-time engineers. We're all based in person in San Francisco. This I'm in the office right now
Okay, yeah,
in the
very
financial
cool.
district.
Very cool, very cool. I like it. I like it. All right, all right. So, let's get started going in on what Halliday actually does. So, I've heard the word thrown around a lot, account abstraction. It's something I kind of think I first learned about um, on when Vitalik Buterin appeared on a Bankless podcast called Endgame. He was talking about like the Ethereum roadmap in the future, and at that time, this was a while back. It sounded like account abstraction was something that wasn't on the near horizon, but was like a deep like an upgrade that was deep, far away, and would actually require a like an EIP similar to implementing the burn and the merge itself. But it's my understanding now that account abstraction, as it's currently thought of, is a Ethereum request for comment 4337, ERC 4337. And so, could you just explain how you are using ERC 4337 and just add any detail you want about why a protocol upgrade wasn't required?
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic question. So I think there were two competing versions of account abstraction that were being proposed by the community. One was, okay, let's go change the validator software and let's make this a protocol level upgrade. Or let's push this into sort of on-chain smart contracts and make a protocol out of this that just everybody sort of respects. And that's what ERC 4337 is. Uh, I think the reason the community ended up not going with the protocol level upgrade is because, as we saw with ETH 2.0, it is a major undertaking
Yeah,
to do a protocol level upgrade. And there's a lot of potential security vulnerabilities that could introduce and sort of revamping the entire account infrastructure at the base level. There are a lot of risks there. And then there was also this competing standard 4337 that has many of the same features, but just implemented as smart contracts. And it really is a very elegant collection of smart contracts. They've been audited by Open Zeppelin. They were designed for many years, and they took into a consideration a lot of the design decisions that were being discussed in the other EIPs.
Okay.
So it's a very solid middle ground between, let's change the validator code and something that's practical and safe.
Cool. And so, it's my understanding that there are accounts on Ethereum are either externally owned accounts or smart contracts. Is that correct?
That is correct. And so
Okay.
ERC
Yeah.
4337 is saying, hey, let's not use EOAs anymore. Let's treat every wallet now as a smart contract.
Okay. And what is the significance of switching from an EOA to a smart contract wallet from a user perspective?
Yes. So there are many. I think right off the bat, you can sort of get into things that just make the user experience a lot more seamless. So, first thing that comes to mind is you can sponsor gas for people. If you're a new user, you're onboarding into the world of blockchain, you don't necessarily want to have to go to an exchange or a DEX and, learn all these things. You got to take baby steps first. And so a lot of
Right. No,
applications want to.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, just jumping in there. I mean, I feel like when I first got into it, I remember signing up with one DEX, and then to get a coin I wanted, I'd have to go sign up with a totally different DEX because this one didn't have it. There's all sorts of just issues with that system. Or not DEX, I'm sorry, centralized exchange. My bad. But yeah, yeah.
You're totally correct. And I had that experience, many years ago when I first started exploring blockchain. So for the first time, you can have somebody who's Web 2, Web 2.5, they're excited about the technology, they can just jump right into it. No need to go through sophisticated exchange mechanisms.
Yeah, that's huge.
There are a lot of other things we can discuss with account abstraction beyond just the gas sponsorship. It's the tip of the iceberg. The real innovation is that the account itself is now programmable. So things that people are starting to explore, ideas like session keys. You're playing a video game right now. When you're playing an on-chain game, you get a pop-up every 10 seconds. It can be distracting. With session keys, you can approve some limited scope permissions on your wallet since it's programmable. And you say, hey, I'm approving for 20 minutes I can auto sign this subset of transactions. Because it's a programmable wallet, you can do things like that. With a MetaMask, that's not an option.
No, that's very cool. That actually makes me think of a problem that DFK players have been complaining about for a long time, where it always seemed a bit of an odd complaint to me, but they would accidentally sell their Gen Zeros, right? And if you had a session key approval where it's like, hey, I can sell any hero I want, but I can't sell Gen Zeros without clicking a separate button. Is that something that they could set up in their own settings to have it work like that? Hypothetically, I'm not saying right out the gates. I'm just saying as a hypothetical universe of account abstraction.
In account abstraction, it could get as intricate and complex and amazing as you want it to be. Yeah, totally.
That's cool. That's really cool to hear. Well, I really like that. Yeah, the session keys aspect, I think, is a huge. I think it's one of those things that sounds really technical and dull from the outside, but it's when you think about how it impacts what a user is actually doing and how they interact with the game and the ability to do something like that where it's like I've logged in and now I've just for the next hour everything is approved that I would want to do in a normal gaming session. It takes away a lot of the friction and it makes it a lot easier to do what I feel like has become the go-to DeFi gaming marketing mantra of hide the blockchain, don't tell the people that they're NFTs, call them digital collectibles instead, remove any kind of reference to blockchain from your user messaging. And so, yeah, I like that it smooths and greases those wheels. Yeah, that's all. Just a comment there. Okay, but there is kind of the justification for these externally owned accounts was that they were very secure and I guess controllable by one person, right? You had to have the private keys to make any decisions on the assets, and you had to approve each and every transaction. So, do we lose any sort of security by switching to a smart contract wallet? And could you just highlight, high level, what would be the biggest risks you could identify? And of course, I mean, welcome any counter arguments you have to those as well.
You're right. And so no, I don't actually think you lose any security with going to a smart contract wallet. And then this is sort of a lot of the discussion that's going on. And, you can see with what, Vitalik's saying on Twitter and at conferences. So you inherit the security of the non-custodial key that is used as an authentication mechanism to the smart contract wallet. And usually how these smart contract wallets are designed is, like, the account holds the funds and holds your assets, and then you have some way of, basically it's like your password, right, to access your bank account. In this case, a smart contract account is still a non-custodial. However, where you actually might see security benefits over a traditional non-custodial wallet is, you have this idea of, like, you can make your smart contract wallet into a multi-sig. You could have approvals from multiple people. You could add guardians. You can, trust your mom and dad to reset the key if you lose it. So there, the cases where, there are horror stories where people lose their seed phrase and they lose the private key, and you lose everything. And I think another thing that's super exciting to me is there's this whole movement going on right now with Google and Apple, where they're pushing for passkeys, which are basically using, secure enclaves.
Right. I've heard of this. Yeah.
That's not possible with the EOA because there's elliptic curve differences. But now with the smart contract account, you can even use an enclave on your phone to authenticate.
Okay.
So I think
that's really
very
cool.
soon. Right. You might actually see more secure accounts with smart contracts rather than with EOS.
Cool. And just for the viewers, I think, and for me, because I have a generalized understanding, I'd say, of what the secure enclave is, but could you just explain the significance of that to the people watching?
Yes. So enclaves are a very special type of hardware where, for in EOA, right, like it's a public-private key pair. An enclave is a special piece of hardware where the secret key, by the physical design of the hardware, cannot leave this isolated part of your device. So every iPhone has an enclave. Macs have enclaves, Androids have enclaves. And what this would let you do is you could, secure your crypto wallet with these hardware keys. Whereas, with most EOAs, it is actually just sort of running in your machine. And if you had some sort of malware, it might be able to get it, which could be scary.
Right. We've all heard the tales of the hacked Bored Apes, where there was a phishing link and then they approved a transaction on some duped up version of OpenSea, and then everything's gone, right? So I get where you're coming from there, especially when it comes to the non-hardware wallets that are so common. And to be completely honest with you, I think the argument about people having ways to recover their keys somehow, however they want to set that up, is huge, because I think that is a way bigger detractor from onboarding than people in crypto who've learned how to kind of, in their own mind at least, do private key management. They don't give it enough credit for how many people are kind of put off, maybe not like fearful, but just put off by the risk of that just in general. Like I never can recover my password.
It's scary to possibly, lose your private key. It's gone forever.
Yeah.
Cryptography can be unforgiving. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's really cool. So, all right, would it be possible then for me to just get, in the future, end up in a situation where I, double tap the side of my iPhone here and my Halliday wallet comes up and I'm paying for coffee with my Apple Enclave there?
It is possible, and at some point in the near future, you could sign a transaction with Face ID.
That's so cool. Well, I really like to hear about that. That's awesome. All right, and so one thing that I've heard about with account abstraction is guardians, but from what you said a little bit ago, it sounds like that is an optional sort of thing that doesn't need to be in every setup, right? Because there's multiple different people doing account abstraction ideas like what you're doing. And I've heard guardians referenced by people like Argent who use it for their wallet. And just give me a rundown of what that means. How does that impact? What does that do? What do they do? And how do you set them up? Why do they do it?
So how I've usually seen guardians described as, like, say there's a terrible event where you lose access to your MetaMask, right? And usually, or let's say your public-private key, your EOA, because Argent, like in the case of Argent, you have some EOA and then you still have a smart contract.
Right.
What a guardian is, like, it's somebody else or a collection of other people that when they come together, they can reset the owner of the account. So maybe there's like your two out of your three best friends can help you recover your account. It could even be an external service, but the idea is that it has to be some collection of people coming together. You don't want to give to one person because then they can just reset.
Right. Yeah. Got it.
But that's how I've seen it done in other wallets.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess the last general question I have here before I go to the social logins, which is going to be like my next topic, is just is there, I guess, is there any way that Halliday, right, in using your service that you would be able to control transactions from my wallet? And if not, like how does, I guess what I'm getting at is how do I use your services to do, is it, you're just the wallet provider, I guess? Is that how it works? Or are you more of a custodian kind of holding on to everyone's keys?
No, no. We are not centralized, and we are not a custodian. We are simply like we're a technology facilitator. Like we will
Okay.
help games and our clients set up this
Oh,
infrastructure, but your
okay,
wallet is a
okay.
smart contract on the blockchain. We have
Just
no
jump. I'm
control.
jumping in here. Okay, okay. So I think you're not really building like a consumer facing specific Halliday product. It sounds like you're building kind of more of a bespoke access to the smart contract system that you've set up for different games.
It's like it's a technology product that we offer to games that helps them sort of give this new technology to their users. But it's
Got it.
non-custodial. Like the end user, you using this account abstraction wallet are the sole authority over that wallet.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, then I think that just logically takes us then to social logins because my next question from that is how will, the system remember me across different games? Say I log in on DFK and then I go log in on somewhere else. Will it remember me or will I have like two separate instances active if I make an account over there, just following like a default setup on both ends?
Oh, this is actually quite an interesting question. So this you're talking about like two different video games.
Right, but both of them are using Halliday, right? By just a hypothesis here.
Yeah, so this is actually sort of depends on what the game wants. I think right now in the current design, you will get a wallet specific to an ecosystem. Some
Okay.
ecosystems may want to share, like have your Google link to many experiences in their ecosystem, but right now each ecosystem gets its own sort of set of accounts.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I could have seen that one going either way. The way you described it makes sense because it's my understanding just from the marketing that DFK is one of your first really big major partners. Is that a correct understanding?
For this specific product line, yes.
Yes. Okay. So okay, yeah, and then I guess that's probably like a wait and see down the road and see how it unfolds as well. Anyway, it might end up making a different decision, or I don't think it really matters. But yeah, that it makes sense what you said. Okay, so you mentioned Google. Is it going to be I go to the DFK website, I'm not logged in or anything. I prompt to make a new account. It says, "Hey, here's your options, Google, Facebook, or whatever you support." I click that button, and then it just creates a new wallet for me.
It'll be it's pretty seamless. So yeah, exactly what you're describing. Where you have email, uh, Google, Facebook, Twitter. Uh,
Cool.
you click the button, and then boom, it's you're ready to go. It's pretty magical.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. And but my next question then is, I know they mentioned in the AMA where DFK brought up Halliday that there's not a on ramp yet for getting buying Jewel in this setup. So how's gas going to work?
Yes. So this is the amazing thing about uh, account abstraction is we can sponsor gas via Paymasters. It's part of the protocol. So instead of having to do any sort of airdropping mechanism, like you can just start playing the game immediately using a gas sponsorship.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned the Paymaster contract. So a buddy of mine works at Visa. He always sends me their blockchain articles, and he sent me this really technical one on 4337. And it sounded like there was a lot of customizability in how you could structure that Paymaster contract, like from instance to instance, where like you could either sponsor the gas, as you're saying now, or it could allow payment of gas in a different token than the gas token. Um, I mean, what implementation are you guys going with on DFK? If you can share that, do you know?
So we have some interesting ideas floating around right now that I'm not sure that I can speak about today.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
from what I can say now is like the classic sort of like we're going to sponsor the native token that will be in right off the bat.
Cool. Very cool. That's awesome. I like to hear that. Um, I have all these technical questions and I'm reading through my outline. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Dude, all these are cool, but I feel like you kind of covered them at the front, and so I'm just getting thrown off here. Sorry. All right, yes, I'm going to skip all this. So tell me about what is your goal from Halliday, and as the like one of the founders, out of the DFK partnership, what is it you're hoping to gain?
So, I mean, look, our goal as a company is to help onboard the next billion users into Web3. Like, I think this is the time, like, the stars are aligning across the ecosystem to take this technology mainstream. I think there are a few things that are happening. One is, gas prices are dramatically decreasing. And you see this with subnets, you see this with L2s, L3s, app-specific rollups, and account abstraction is it's hitting the stage, right? Like Vitalik is promoting it. This is starting to reach critical mass. So one, we want to support DFK, bring everybody from Web2 into their game world because they've made a fantastic game. And that's our mission as a company, is to get as many people as possible playing these games where you have true property rights. And that's the thing that got me into the space in the first place. It's like, holy cow, I can own a piece of digital property. I grew up playing WoW, and the second you pissed off Blizzard, goodbye, right? So I think it's amazing that we actually have video games where you can own property. So this is what we're here to do, to make it accessible to people, right?
Yeah, very cool, very cool. All right, and then so aside from the social logins and the session keys, making everything super seamless and easy to access, what would you say is the aspect of your product that is going to do what you just said and bring in that next wave of users by making it more simple for them? What's the next thing aside from those two? And if it were only those two, I'm super impressed. But I want to hear. What do I not know that I should?
Yeah, so broadly, I'd say it really fits into the category of like, we provide abstraction. Like, you have the experience that you're used to. Like, we're all like sort of sophisticated digital consumers now. That you expect certain things with Web2, but you maintain all the amazing benefits of Web3, like true sovereign ownership. So those are things like with our smart contract accounts, it's super easy to get into the game. You maintain full custody. You have gas sponsorship. It's cross-chain. So, DFK is on multiple chains. We will seamlessly support that without any, like, across ecosystems. Like, so this sort of thing is like, we're making it very, very easy to interact with sophisticated blockchain applications.
So explain this one to me then. The cross-chain thing, I've heard about this, but I forgot about it. I'm glad you bring it up because okay, so if it's a smart contract on one chain, how is it possible for it to interact with more than one chain depending on what the user wants to do? How does that setup work? Does the smart contract just exist on all of these chains with the same address and kind of handle it as needed?
Yeah, so this is actually a fantastic question. There are multiple ways to do this. So to address it step by step, yes, the smart contract will exist at the same address on every single blockchain. And then we also define the addresses counterfactually using create2. We have standard factories everywhere to make sure that the addresses are indeed the same. And then there are a few ways to handle sort of cross-chain interaction. Like, you could use bridges, you can use technologies like layer 0. There are a lot of really kind of fun things to explore there in the future. But as it stands, like, yes, you will always have contracts on any chain, and then communicating, using our technology between those is super, super easy.
That's excellent. Okay, yeah, very cool. That is one of the things I'm most excited about, is because like right now, just switching from Serendale to Clayton just to see what heroes I have. Like, say I'm looking for ninjas or dark knights or what have you. I have to switch back and forth to figure it out. If I could just have it so they all display in one interface, that would be really nice. I have a question here in the audience that seems like an interesting one. Is this deal with DFK a one and done product? And by that I mean, I assume that they mean you're kind of building something for them that's just going to stand alone then and be something that they take and run with it, or is it going to be like a longer term partnership rolled out over months or years?
Yeah, so we prioritize longer term partnerships, and we're here to stay. So it's not one and done. Like we're building a suite of products that we're going to continually iterate, one with our partners and then with their communities, of course, as well.
Very cool. Very cool. I like to hear that. Um, and I'm sure I know the answer to this is already yes, but I feel like I owe it to my audience to ask this. So down the road, or maybe immediately, is can someone take the assets that they've acquired in their Holiday wallet and easily transfer it out to a MetaMask?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I expected. But I'll be honest with you. One of my friends wanted me to ask it, and I owed it to him. I told him the answer would be yes. No, I didn't, but I knew it would be. Um, so what can we DFK players expect the launch to look like when Holiday goes live? Like, what should we be excited for?
I'm super excited for people just to jump right into it and see, like, to do, like, we hear a lot of talk about account abstraction. We hear a lot of talk about a lot of the innovations that are happening in blockchain, but now it's game time. Like these things are actually being released. So the second we're live, like I encourage everybody to just see it for yourself. Like see the benefits, the UX, how easy it is to use these technologies, and let us know what you think. Like we're super excited to get everybody on board.
That's awesome. All right. All right. I did have one more source of questions, but you've covered like everything I wanted. I know it's been a quick half hour. But I got some other ones on Twitter, and I'm just trying to pull those up here to make sure I covered them. So if you'll indulge me just for a second. Ooh. But hey, this has been a great time talking with you. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear it. I like that you're in San Francisco. California time is easy for me. So if you ever want to come make any announcements, consider yourself welcome on office hours. Um, and is there anything, I guess, outside of DFK that Halliday is working on that you think people would be interested in? Obviously, I'm not trying to get any secrets, but just, that's information that's public that would be good to go learn about it if people want to see kind of what Halliday's done in the past and what other things you're up to now outside DFK.
Yeah, I mean, so we've launched publicly with some other technology. We have a history in buy now, pay later. So that's live. You can see that on the internet. So we have a lot of thoughts on, like, I'll say we've always been very focused on putting ownership into the hands of players. Like that's why we started
Yeah,
the
okay.
company. So like one of our earlier products was how do we make it easier for you to own an expensive asset? That's buy now, pay later. And now
Got
it's
it.
how
Got
can
it.
we make it easier to have a non-custodial wallet account abstraction?
Okay. Okay. I saw buy now, pay later on your website, and I thought that was just some kind of I didn't know that was a product or a feature. I thought that was just saying that you could pay in installments. I didn't realize it was a product. That's cool. That's really cool that you yeah, okay. Nice. I'm glad I understand that now. And direct NFT checkout. So you made that sounds like something where you could just put in a credit card on OpenSea and then buy something or wherever. I'm just using OpenSea as an example.
Right.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I did find these questions here. So running through them, I think we did cover all of those as well. So I guess closing thoughts, do you have anything else that you want to talk about regarding Halliday? Or do you feel like we kind of covered everything the DFK players need to know? And I am really excited about this. Before you start, I will just say this is something that I think has been really necessary for gaming and blockchain to have any chance of success. Is like make abstracting exactly as you say, give all of the complicated blockchainy things from the player experience, and that's what had to happen for the internet to be usable, right? No one liked using the internet when um, your internet went away because your mom took a phone call, right? And once a lot of the technology came out, the infrastructure came out to support messaging amongst all of these various networks, that's when it really blossomed. And I think we're about to see that. This is Halliday, I feel like, is one of the examples of a builder who is really approaching that the technology that's going to give that broadband moment to blockchain, where people stop putting the hyphen between on and chain, and it just becomes that common. So with that, with all of that appreciation for what you're building, anything that you want to say from the Halliday perspective going before we take off here?
No, yeah, and one, thank you. This has been an absolutely fantastic time. I think we covered a lot of ground. I think the last thing I'll say is, look, we're incredibly excited. We also want feedback, and we can't wait for everybody to start using our product. And look, we're an iterative team. Like, we want people to throw out ideas. Like, blockchain is still young. There's a lot of innovation yet to be discovered and acted upon. So, like, this is just the beginning of account abstraction. And like I was talking about, now that things are smart contracts, the world is our oyster. We can make really, really awesome technology. So this is just the beginning.
And that is what made smart contracts cool, right? The fact that you could do anything with them. I like it. That because that's what really makes me think. Ethereum was a huge upgrade over Bitcoin. Although some might get mad at me for saying that. Everyone who is listening now, I want you all to follow our friend Griff here on Twitter. I just dropped his link in the chat. And then also check out Halliday HQ. I've dropped their link in the chat. Show them love. Ask him the questions. Give him the feedback that he just said he wants. I know the DFK community has a lot of it all the time. And it's honestly been really great talking to you. Great to meet you. Yeah, really looking forward to the future of crypto generally, and then this partnership specifically.
Thank you so much.